Good morning. This is a quick audio check. Let me know how my audio is. You're also hearing some music in the background. We will be starting in about 3 or 4 minutes. And today is a very special live stream of The Coding Train with a guest, Antonio Roberts. I encourage you to read all about Antonio in the video description right now if you want to learn more. And I'll be back in just a few minutes to say a more proper hello. Hi, everyone. We'll begin in about 2 minutes. So one of these days, I will have a countdown timer that appears in the pre-show animation, but not today. As always. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Coding Train. Now, whenever I have a guest video, I always feel more ridiculous about using the train whistle because I feel like I'm revealing something about myself, even though I do it all the time and all of the people who are watching now watch. But I know that there's a really wonderful person waiting in the wings to come and present today. So I feel a little self-conscious. Okay. I know that I tend to do a lot of rambling at the top. And if I'm doing a coding session on the Coding Train, it'll be like 45 minutes before I actually get started with anything. But I just want to, so I want to try to get started with the main content of today's live stream as soon as possible. At the same time, I want to make sure that everything is working okay, that you can kind of hear me and see me and all of that stuff. So how is it? How's it going? While I'm waiting to hear any quick messages in the chat, let me quickly just set some expectations for today. So this will be somewhere in the range of 1 hour to 90 minutes, 1 to 1.5 hours. Here, I see myself in all my preview places. Okay, everything's fine. People will tell me if the stream went down. It's so strange. So the bulk of today's live stream will be a guest presentation from Antonio Roberts, as well as a recording of a live coding performance that I am so excited to play for you. You'll be able to watch that performance afterwards. We'll have a link to just that video alone as well. So that is going to be the bulk of the time today. And so there'll be a presentation, a recording of a live performance, and then a little time for Q&A afterwards. How's everything going? Everybody says, my Discord chat is so quiet. I don't see no messages at all, which makes me a little worried. But I'm pretty sure everything is fine, like myself. Sound is good, says Coding My Life. Lizzie says, hello, cat food. Is this the Lizzie that's going to make an appearance? It is. That's very exciting. Oh, woo, okay, everybody's here. I got to get moving. Let me switch over to start doing some introductions. Actually, so this is what I wanted to say. A little Coding Train news, breaking news. It's not breaking news, a little Coding Train news. Just before I begin, I have to play this weird sound effect. Okay. I have a backlog of about 10 to 15 video tutorials that are currently being edited and produced. All of those are from the Nature of Code series, and they will all be coming out over the next few weeks. Live streams from today for about 3 weeks are going on hiatus. So you won't see any live streams from me until mid-April. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, but stay tuned to future Coding Train. There's going to be, it's possible that we'll have like one, I muted the breaking news sound effect. Darn, I forgot. It's okay. It's fine. Nobody, I heard that in my ears and it was just delightful. So stay tuned to the channel. There's going to be lots of new tutorials coming out over the next few weeks. But what are we here for today? Let me get back to minimizing this, and I'm going to switch over to my laptop view here. So this is Antonio Roberts' website. Please check it out. But I also wanted to say, in addition to the guest presentation that we're having today, today's live streams is a fundraiser for a wonderful organization called Coders of Color. So Coders of Color is an organization aimed at empowering and enabling young underrepresented people of color to pursue a career in tech by providing them with a safe space for them to learn, explore, and grow. So they do this primarily by running free coding workshops for young people. It's an organization that I have been following online through Twitter. They're based in the UK. They have a very hands-on approach to support. They believe that all their attendees should leave each of the events with the ability to do something new, and they're there for them if further support is required. So far, Coders of Color has supported over 750 young people through workshops and programs. Out of the young people they have supported, some have continued studies in computer science up to undergraduate level, and others have secured their first job in tech with their help and support. So they're currently donating spare laptops to young people in need of them across the UK. They've also had requests from people based in New Orleans and here in the United States, Morocco, and Nigeria. If you're based in any of these cities or countries and have a spare laptop, please reach out. All of the links to the Coders of Color website and their Twitter account, or where you can see get in touch here, is all there. So Antonio's going to speak a little bit more about Coders of Color and his relationship to them later in his presentation as well. I just want to point you to the fundraiser that we set up for this fundraiser page for this particular live stream. Now, ordinarily, I love to try to integrate the fundraising with YouTube's built-in giving network, but they're a UK-based organization, so I wasn't able to do that. But you can donate through this page. Your name will pop up here at the bottom. I'm just going to refresh. If you make a donation, I'll come back to hopefully thank you at the end of the live stream. I did notice I wasn't able to disable the YouTube Super Chat feature, so I would like to say, that super chat feature, I would encourage you to donate to Coders of Color through this website. That's my preferred advice to you. And I see we already got another £10, £10. I'm very US focused here. £10 donation since I last started speaking, which is from Anonymous. Thank you. Anonymous, you're one of my favorite people, Anonymous. So thank you for that donation. That's wonderful already to see one coming through. But I will, so don't use necessarily the super chat feature, but I guess if you do, I will, assuming that I could do this in my analytics, go back and look at all the super chats that were done during this live stream, and I will redonate that money through the fundraiser myself. So, so this is this page. All right. So now I am very excited to introduce to you. It says here that I'm talking. Look at this, the talking Daniel Schiffman. But soon, in a moment, Antonio is going to be talking. Let me read this. I'm going to go back to his website and read a short introduction for you. And I'm really, I just want to say, I'm so excited about this because. And by the way, I know you can hear my children screaming in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. Sorry, everyone. Quiet down there. Soon I get to mute myself. So live coding has been something that I've never done myself, but it's something that I've followed and experienced. The AlgoRave scene, different new environments for live coding in terms of performance. It's really exciting and an engaging way to express yourself and use the tools of coding. And so I always wanted to be able to help provide the Coding Train audience with some information about live coding. And so I'm really thrilled that Antonio is here to do that. So Antonio Roberts is an artist and a curator based in Birmingham, UK. He's coming all the way from the UK today. Working primarily with video, code, and sound. He is critically engaged with the themes surrounding network culture, and in his practice explores how technology continues to shape ideas of creation, ownership, and authorship. As a performing visual artist and musician, he utilizes live coding techniques to demystify technology and reveal its design decisions, limitations, and creative potential. So Antonio has shown at many galleries and festivals, all of which are listed in the video's description. He's curated a lot of exhibitions and projects, also listed in this exhibition, but I would encourage you, there's links to his website, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, and GitHub, all also in the video's description, so you can check out all of those. So I'm going to awkwardly now attempt to transition over to Antonio. I'm getting better at this every single time in terms of figuring out all of the logistics and technology for live streaming. But in case there's an audio glitch of Antonio's muted or I press the wrong button to play the wrong video at the wrong time, blame me, please. Vent your frustrations to. I should set up complaints at thecodingtrain.com. It's not an email that exists yet, but right after today I will set that up. So first I'm gonna Antonio, you're about to appear. Let me actually I'm gonna unmute Antonio. Say hello.
Hello.
So hopefully everybody just
How's
heard
everyone doing?
Antonio's voice. I am now moving over to, you're seeing Antonio's slides here, and I'm going to click this button, which should bring up his video. He's waving. I'm going to make that a little bit larger. And I'm also going to turn on the live captioning that I have here hooked up through Zoom system. So we have some live captions for Antonio's presentation. There are also live captions through YouTube itself, but I find that these captions are a little bit higher quality. Okay. Hi, Antonio. How are you? How did I do with my introduction?
That was great. Thank you. It's always weird hearing my own biography said back at me. I'm like, did I do all of those things? I'm doing great, and it's really an honor to be here. And I'm looking forward to talking to you at the internet and seeing what happens.
Wonderful. So the next step for this is I'm going to make myself disappear in the bottom left corner here and mute my audio. And let you take it away. I just want to say to the audience that we will have a little time, like maybe 10 to 15 minutes for Q&A after. If you want to write your questions in the chat, I have a little notebook here and a pencil. If you know about this kind of fancy technology, I'm going to try to make a note of some of the questions. I see that Sai, Coding Train Community Manager, is also in the chat. And so let me just click a little button here to add moderator. So Sai and other Coding Train Discord members can help collect any questions and repost those in the live chat, and I'll come back and ask those at the end. So I think we could get started. Take it away, Antonio.
Yay, brilliant. Thanks very much for that. Hey, all right, so where do I start? So today, firstly, my name, as said, is Antonio Roberts, and I'm an artist and curator. I'm in the UK in a city called Birmingham, and I do a lot of things within my practice. You've heard that long list, but today, really, I want to focus on how artists and musicians are using programming to make art and music through live coding. So firstly, just a little bit about who I am myself. If you want to go check out my work, here's my website, hellocatfood.com, because I like cats. And I occasionally write blog posts about my work, tutorials, and all of that stuff. So please do check that out. So for the last 10 or so years, I've been making primarily digital video artworks that look a little bit like this. These are some screenshots from them. And these are exhibited in places like galleries. They're streamed online. They're projected onto the sides of buildings occasionally. And the way that I make all of these artworks are using mostly open source tools and tools that you might expect from a digital artist. So 3D modeling software, video editors, image editors, and what have you. But one thing that I do, which I guess a growing number of people are doing, especially those who are watching this channel, is I'm using programming to make my artwork. So this here is the screenshot of some code that I wrote in a programming language called ImageMagick. And this is available on my GitHub, by the way. And this particular script makes very nice kind of glitchy patterns based on JPEG compression, and they look a bit like this. And when you run the script, each time it generates a new static image file that looks a bit glitchy like this. And when you run it, the output of it is like a still image, but depending on how you set it up, you can also like see the image being made like through all the still images, and it looks a little bit like this. So you can see like it gets glitchier and glitchier. So yeah, and that's just a very small script. Without comments, it's probably only like 30 lines. And I wrote this many years ago. Another small script, which you have made recently, in fact, was this script to basically make wavy, glitchy looking GIFs. So every time you run it, it generates a random wavy looking GIF, which I pretty much like. And these scripts, they have several uses. Sometimes the programming that I use in my artwork is the artwork in itself. So the results of it are exhibited just from whatever the program makes. or sometimes these images, these GIFs are used as like part of a wider, larger piece. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of like what I do in my work there. But I also have a performative practice. I am a live performer. And what I'm doing, which is where the live coding comes into it, is that I'm using programming live on stage to make artwork in a process called, surprisingly, live coding. And we do this live coding primarily at events called Algorave. So what's an Algorave? Well, the Algorave name, the word, is a portmanteau, a combination of two different words, algorithm and rave. Put them together, you get Algorave. And Algoraves are parties where people dance to music and visuals primarily made with algorithms programming. And yeah, they look a little bit like this. So here's a few pictures of people performing with their laptops at different events. These are mostly ones around the UK because that's where I live. That's where I'm based. So yeah, just these are a few pictures. I'll explain a little bit what's happening in some of these as well as we get forward. But first, I just want to show you what's happening. So yeah, that's what they look like as still pictures, but maybe you want to see what they look like, and maybe you want to see and hear what one of them sounds like. So maybe we could have the first video, which is a video of an algorithm that happened at the British Library in the UK. Cool. So that, and in that video, you saw myself and my friend Sean Cotterill performing in a library, which, you know, is an odd place to do it, but there you go. That's what happens. The next video is an example of a live stream featuring Lizzie, who I think is in the chat. So Lizzie goes by the name Digital Self. So we'll see a live stream of her now. The next video I'll show you is a performance by myself and a collaborator, Maria Vitek. We perform under the name Bad Circulation, and this performance is from ICLC, a conference that happened 2 years ago. Cool, and the next video is from Alfalfa. I hope I pronounced that right. He's a Paris-based musician, and this is another example of a live stream. And for the last video, I want to show you a video of Alex McLean and Matthew Yee King performing under the name Canute. Cool. Thanks for showing those videos, for controlling that, Dan. So hopefully from all those videos you saw that like there's a range of things that can be done with Algoraves. We definitely have a lot of live streams happening for many years. You see people collaborating with people using different instruments, different hardware, technology. So it's quite a versatile practice, incorporates many different things. So as I've mentioned, there have been a lot of Algoraves all over the world. Of course, I'm based in the UK, so those are the ones that I know most, but just wanted to share with you a few posters from ones that have happened in different places. So you have here, excuse me, on the left, we performed at South by Southwest a couple of years ago. And then on the right, there's a very vibrant live coding scene in New York City. So this is a poster for one of their events. Again, on the left, here's an event that happened in Birmingham in the UK, which I organized. And on the right, another recent live stream, which had all of these artists. We've actually done many live streams recently where sometimes they've lasted a week long, and you can have 24 hours of live coding 7 days a week. It's great. On the left again, we have another live stream which happened on a cyber yacht. Yep, yachts exist in cyberspace. And on the right, you can see the date of this Algorave was actually 2015. So this is, we've been partying for a while now. And then the last set of posters, I'll show you an event that happened in New York on the left, and a big festival that happened in Sheffield in the UK on the right. So yeah, we have performed all over the place, and places that I haven't even mentioned here. So hopefully you've now kind of got a bit of an idea of what an Algorave looks like, what it sounds like. But I just want to talk a little bit more about what happens at an Algorave. And a very important part of Algoraves is to share your screen, is to show what it is you're doing. And this is usually done, as you can see here, like through a projector. You can see the code that the person's writing being projected behind them or somewhere else in the room. And I think doing this has three effects and three important things that happen that kind of affects the performance and potentially the audience. I think firstly, showing the code helps to build a connection with the audience that's watching. So if you think back, for example, if you've ever gone to a concert where there's an electronic musician performing using a laptop, right? So they're on the stage with their laptop, and really all you can see is like the back of their laptop. And don't get me wrong, when people are performing, when electronic musicians are performing with like MIDI controllers, with their laptops and so on, there's definitely a skill to that. That's like something that takes years of training to perfect. And so, those musicians deserve respect. But it's unfortunate that as you as an audience member can't really see and appreciate what they're doing, because it's behind the laptop, it's behind the screen. And so some of that connection is lost a little bit. If you compare it to, say, like percussive instruments like a drum, or if you think of a guitar as well, even if you don't understand how to play guitar or how to play drums, at least when you see the drummer hit the drum or the guitarist drum, you can see that in them manipulating their instrument and them playing it differently, different sounds occur. So you build that sort of connection to what's happening. And by showing the code, even if you don't understand the code, not everyone here is a programmer, at least when you see a person writing some code, you can see like, oh, they've changed the instrument from like a bass drum to an electronic drum or something. At least when you see the code changing, you can also hear what's happening at the same time. So it helps to build sort of like that relationship with the audience, and show exactly what's happening behind the computer. So the second effect that it does is more like, I guess, a social commentary, at least what I think. It helps to demystify how computers are working, or at least demystify how art and music are made with computers. If you look in the popular media today, or over the last several years, especially when it comes to things like artificial intelligence and machine learning, there's always this like kind of idea that rogue algorithms are going to take over the world, and it's going to be like Terminator 2, and it's going to take over. But that kind of thinking, I think, kind of forgets that behind all of this computing, there's a human that made it, and there's a human that understands how it's working. And we can, if we're able to, like, rip apart the black box of the computer, if we can understand it as well. And so, and by, again, with algorithms and live coding, through showing this code, through showing how a performance unfolds and changes, we can hopefully learn that, these computers that we have, that we own, are things which we can understand. They are within our comprehension. Yeah, so and with that, actually, so with it being within your comprehension, you probably now want to learn a little bit about where to learn live coding. What tools do you have? What tools am I using? What tools are other people using? So you could go on the internet and look for this. And what you might find is a really massive long list of different software. So this is just one screenshot from the awesome live coding GitHub page, which lists a lot of different live coding languages, ones for all different operating systems and for the web. And they come in various flavors. You might be a person who likes Python, you might be doing Haskell, C++, JavaScript. There's going to be most of these software are open source as well. So most of them are. And so no matter what kind of programming language you're familiar with, there's probably going to be a live coding language for visuals or music to suit your tastes. But yeah, this list, as I said, this is only a screenshot of the list, so you'll see, like, I don't know how many is on there, but I'm going to say around 50. So I've picked out and made some videos showing some of the live coding tools which I've come across over my 5 years of live coding. So I think the ones that I'll show first will be music focused live coding tools. So I guess, could we have the first one, which is the Tidal Cycles video, please? Cool. So that programming language that you saw there, at least the blue text, that's a programming language called Tidal Cycles, which is created by Alex McLean, who's also the guy who coined the term algorave. And it's a programming language based in Haskell for it's for programming patterns of music. He does a better explanation of it than I do. And you also saw me there actually as well. That was a recording from a performance that we did last year. But yeah, so the main text, the blue text, was Tidal Cycles. So that's one programming language which you might see quite a lot of. The next programming language is quite different actually in how it operates. And this one is called Orca, and it's made by a group called 100 Rabbits. So if we could have Orca, please. Brilliant. So yeah, that one is quite different in how it operates, and it can produce some awesome things. So yeah, please check out Orca if you want to learn a completely different way and a language of making live coding music. So the last one that I'll show you, at least for the audio side of things, is a programming language called SuperCollider, and this programming language dates back to, I think, 1996, and it's used by quite a lot of people, and it's more based around, I think, C++. Or maybe it's just C. So in this video, you're going to see a musician called Shelly Knott from a performance demonstrating how it works. So if we could have Shelly Knott playing SuperCollider, please. Cool. So yeah, so that's Super Collider, which is used actually in quite a lot of different software. So like Tidal Cycles uses it, for example, as its like sound engine. But yeah, so if you fancy yourself to be a C programmer and wanna learn that, then yeah, so please do. So these are only just 3 of the audio live coding software that's available. There's so much more. But I want to move on to showing you some of the visual side of things. So I primarily, when I've been at live coding events, I've been making visuals. I've only recently, in like the last 2-3 years, moved into music. But yeah, there's also just as much live coding software for visuals. And yeah, so I'll show you some of them. The first one that I want to show you is a piece of software called Hydra, and this is made by Olivia Jack. So if you could have Hydra, please. Oh, sorry. Just wanted to say, oh, sorry. Yeah, before you go to that video, I just want to say there is audio in these videos, but the audio wasn't made by the software, but I just put the audio in to kind of like, you know, help the demonstration. So yeah, here we have Hydra by Olivia Jack. Thank you for that. And what I really like about Hydra is that it's very like textural kind of video synthesis. Almost reminds me a lot of like hardware video synthesizers. So, and that, yeah, that's browser based, but you can also download it to the desktop. But please do check out Hydra. I really like it. The next one that I want to show you is actually, so it's software which you can use for both audio and for visuals, and it's software called Pure Data. I use it primarily for my visuals because, and some of my music, because it's how I like to work. If you ever use something like Max MSP, the interface will be familiar to you. But yeah, so let's have Pure Data then next, please. Cool. So yeah, Pure Data. I like how chaotic it all looks. It works like my brain works, so it's all quite messy. But yeah, so I use Pure Data. And then the last one that I want to show you is software called Improviz, written by a friend of mine, Guy John. And yeah, this one, the syntax is based a little bit on, or it's similar to processing, if you ever use that. But you know, it's good. It's a good piece of software. So yeah, let's have Improviz then, please. So those are just, in fact, sorry, just to say that code that came from a workshop that I did. One of the participants made that code, so I can't claim to have made that coding myself. But yeah, so hopefully from those 3 videos, you see that, you know, each one of them has sort of like a very different approach to coding visuals, and even the ones before that, you know, the different approaches to coding music. So, you know, there's something for everyone, hopefully, whether that's browser-based, desktop-based, whether you want to like just create noise or something rhythmic or something structured, there's going to be things. So now you've seen what algorithms look like, you've seen what tools we're using, how we're using them. Where do you go to learn it? Okay, so you've already seen that there's this live coding GitHub list, which is quite long. I'd say you know, go on to the project websites. A lot of them have good documentation, and so you can, you know, learn about how they work, and even learn about live coding as a practice through those websites. But I'd say one good resource is going to be the TopLap website. So that's toplap.org. And TopLap is like a loosely held organization that just kind of promotes live coding and talks about it. So if you go to this website, there'll be links to the various different communities that are talking about live coding, whether that be local, regional, whatever. There'll be research papers, because this is something which academics are researching and talking about in that way. So yeah, research papers, events, all of that will be on the Top Lap website, and that's like a good first start to then find other people. So that's just like an internet site. But one thing you might want to do, and especially like when we're actually allowed to kind of like meet people, is see if there's any local groups in your area. I'm based in Birmingham in the UK, and I often find myself traveling to visit other local groups, and some of them. So on the Top Lap website, you'll see that /nodes, groups or nodes. You'll see that there's groups all over the world. Of course, this presentation has largely had a UK bias because that's where I am, but have a look at this list already. Like there's live coding groups Berlin, Bogota, there's North Mexico, Montreal, Yorkshire. So wherever you there might, and it might just be a few people, it might be a whole group, have a whole building, but go look and see if there's other people who are just who have the same interest, and hopefully that will be a better way to learn from you, because I find personally myself, I learn better when I'm with other people. And also you might want to do is look for workshops, especially again once we're able to meet in person, but also online. I've run plenty of workshops in how to do live coding of visuals. Friends of mine have done live coding music workshops online and in person. The people who make the software are often also delivering these workshops, and they always try and make it as approachable and friendly as possible, working with different skill levels. So like myself personally, I've taught workshops to children as young as 5. Like this photo here, this is me at Tate Britain teaching live coding visuals to, you see like a room full of like 20 kids. It somehow works. But yes, taught children as young as that with their parents. And then of course, as Dan mentioned earlier, I've also taught live coding at Coders of Color. And I really appreciate the work that they're doing in sort of like helping the digital divide and introducing more people of color to programming and showing them that it's something that they can do. And so when I was there, I taught them how to do live visuals and demonstrated how live coding music works. And hopefully it just made it a bit more approachable, showed them one of the different creative uses of programming. Because of course, as Dan does, you teach people to kind of get over that hurdle of it being incredibly difficult. So Coders of Color, I fully support them in what they're doing. And and then I guess the last way to, and sorry, if all of this has been interesting to you, has been of interest, and I really hope it has, go to an Algorave, see if there's an Algorave happening. Of course, in person, they're not really happening just yet, but we do live streams pretty much all the time. In fact, I'm actually performing in like 2 hours at an event, which I like to keep busy. So we're live streaming and performing all of the time, and we're always looking for new people to perform. We like to break down these hierarchies, so like there's not really like just kind of like pro level of live coders. We're all just people really messing around with code and making some weird music and some weird visuals. So I'm gonna stop there and basically say, thank you for listening to all that I've been saying. And if you want to check out my work, these are my links to check out what I do, how I make it. Occasionally I post tutorials or just snippets of what it is I'm making. But again, just get involved with the community of people and hopefully see you on the dance floor. So if you want to as well, stick around till in a moment, I'll be sharing a video that I made, live coding performance that I made specifically for this event. And just to say about that, I used Tidal Cycles for the music, and I used Pure Data for the visuals. I wasn't doing both at the same time, by the way. I don't have I'm not that good, but I stitched it together afterwards. So stick around to watch the video. It's about 10 minutes long. and I can be here for questions afterwards. But yeah, thanks for listening, watching, and I also try and jump in the chat. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Antonio. So don't leave. Like, this might seem like we're wrapping up, but actually we're saving the best part for right now. Well, all of that was terrific. It's all equally wonderful, but I'm very excited. Antonio obviously does this live, and I would love to find out the information. Maybe we can share it about where you're performing in a couple hours, and people who want more can tune in. But based on the way that I have my setup here, it I think would give you a higher quality experience. We had Antonio sort of record a performance, especially just for this Coding Train live stream, and I'm going to press a button in Open Broadcast Studio, which will play back that recording for you. So I've taken like a couple questions down, but I mean, please just sit back and enjoy the performance. But also, now's a great time if you have a question or two you want to ask, you can pop it into the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll have just a short, 10 minute or so Q&A with Antonio afterwards, as well as information for you how you can watch the performance hopefully later today. Okay, so I'm going to as soon as I press this button, it's off and running. It's about a 10-minute performance. Enjoy, and we'll circle back afterwards. Sorry, I'm finding the button. I found it. Here it comes. All right, I think we are back. Thank you so much for that wonderful performance. It's interesting. I experienced it all silently because the way I have my setup here, I'm not monitoring to the audio, so I can't wait to go back and watch it later with the actual audio to get a sense of how that fits in. And just to let everyone know, that Antonio is posting that video itself as a separate standalone upload, and we'll put a link to it in the chat and in the video description or in the all the places where things would go along with this video. You'll find a link to that if you're looking for it. Oh, this is so nice. I see so many hand clapping emojis in the chat because the chat is like 30 seconds behind me. So I'm seeing that I'm going to give my own. Oh, and I can do a Zoom hand clap reaction. That didn't show up anywhere. Okay. Thank you everybody for all the nice comments in the chat. Thank you so much to Antonio for the presentation performance. We have a little bit of time. We want to give Antonio a little time to rest before his performance later. And I will share a link to that as well in a moment. But I collected some great questions and thank you to the Coding Train moderators and members of the Discord who helped capture some of these questions that I'd love to, if you have a few minutes, Antonio, ask some of them to you. Great. Okay.
Sure, definitely.
So let's see where to start. Actually, so I'm going to start with this question from Kevin, which reads, are you listening to the music as you code? Do you take the music as inspiration for the code, or are they two standalone parts that come together as separate pieces?
Cool. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm definitely listening to the music for inspiration. I like being on stage with a musician. You are responding to what they're doing, and when the music is really thumping and like big beats, then you want that to be reflected in the visuals. Of course, because I'm coding all of it in real time, like there's a certain, I can't respond that quickly sometimes to very sudden changes in music, but because of the nature of Algorave, in that Algorave music tends to build slowly over time, it means I can build my visuals and react to them also quite slowly over time as well. But yeah, definitely always listen to the music. Like even making this video as well, like I made the music first and then I played the music back and build the visuals as I was listening, and just you can see me coding, can't you? Frantically typing.
Yeah, there's actually a kind of related question about that too from Stieg, which is just sort of about the feedback loop. Have you ever thought of it as a feedback loop where the music is sort of affecting the visuals and then it sort of goes back to the music? Does that kind of structure ever emerge or self-regulate, or is that mostly is that something you've ever considered or thought about?
Yeah, so there's definitely like some form of feedback loop because just through familiarity with like when I'm performing with another person, for example, we just know each other after performing together for so long. So like I know what they're doing, they know what I'm doing, so we're just feeding off each other in that way. Of course, you can, on technical level, that as well, send one person's code to another person's computer and have like those two things affecting each other. I haven't done that much because obviously it's kind of a complex setup. But yeah, you can totally on a like kind of relationship level, you can have feedback loops, and then also on a technical sending data to each other, you can do the same. And I've done both.
Right. It's interesting to me to think about this whole discussion because live coding as a performance is not something I've ever done. But on some level, what I'm doing constantly on this YouTube channel is live coding, not as a performance, not in real time with music and visuals, but trying to live code to teach an example or to work out a problem. And I guess what's interesting to me about the sort of so-called creative coding and working with processing in P5 is how unlike maybe in more traditional software development, where as a programmer might be given a spec sheet and write software to sort of conform to that spec sheet, so much of the practice of creative coding is kind of wandering and improvisation. And so I guess I'm curious, like, to what extent do you rehearse or plan in advance? And to what extent do you improvise and just let the live coding performance kind of take you wherever it may go?
Oh, it's a bit of both, really. So so for performances, like even this video, like the video that you just watched was based off a sketch that I made just over a year ago, and so I knew I was going to do that, but then that sketch was only like a 10-second loop, so I had to kind of like improvise how to like build it in, and then sometimes just like, oh, let me change a number, let me just change one of these numbers and see what happens. And I remember Alex McLean said this in the presentation that like if you make a mistake when you change some of the code, just let it play 4 times and then you've got a beat. And I really like that because it's just like, okay, just see where it takes you and just let it ride out for a bit and see if you like it. So yeah, I think, and I remember I've also compared it to kind of like jazz as well, at least free form jazz. You have or even if not jazz, but like in different types of music, you have your different scales of music, and people will just improvise within that scale. So definitely when I'm performing, there is a structure, there is an idea, and then I'm just kind of like improvising within that idea and seeing what happens. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it's noisy, sometimes it's good noisy, but hopefully people stick around to listen to it.
Yeah, I think just the way you're describing it and thinking about the practice of jazz music and what's required to sort of like learn to play jazz, to practice for a concert, and yet to still improvise is a really apt kind of analogy there. So that's great. Thank you for that. I'm looking through. There's a lot of questions that I might sort of like try to combine into one, which really I think all touch on think, the sort of theme of getting started with live coding. So there's a question about like, where to showcase your creation. So if I would imagine like if I'm a new coder and I want to try live coding, like where could I first do try to do a performance, as well as, I mean, you touched on quite a bit this in your presentation, but there's some sort of questions about like, do you have any recommended tutorials for pure data or some of the other things that you're using? Yeah. So I guess I will kind of collect all those into one question, which is, and I guess I'm asking this because I have lots of answers to people who are asking the question of where do I begin to learn coding, which I think is different from where do I begin to learn the practice of live coding as performance or experiment with it in the same way like a stand-up comedian might go to some like, comedy clubs to like try out a set and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, one answer would be go on YouTube, but then as I think I alluded to it in my presentation, it's better to learn from other people. So on the TopLap website, toplap.org, there's also a chat thing. It's not a Discord, but like it's just a kind of like, it's a bit like Slack. So that's chat.toplap.org. And in there's like different sub forums for each of the different languages, and people just kind of like talk and share like what they're doing. And as I said, people are very friendly. A lot of the discussions have now moved on to like separate Discord channels. So from there, you can find links to it because Discord URLs are really long. But so you can. But I say the TopLap chat is just kind of like a good place to meet the other people. And just the nature of live coding is that you have to share your code. So if you see someone's code, copy it, paste it, change it, and see if you like it, and that's really a good thing about it. But there's no kind of secrecy. So once you and people will help you. People, if you ask questions, people will help you. They are quite friendly, just because again, there's not that secrecy. So if you go onto that TopLap chat, then from there you might be pointed into the direction of a particular forum for a particular piece of software. But and then just copy and paste some code and see what happens.
Great, yeah. In a moment, I'm gonna kind of switch out of the Zoom and go show some URLs like of the performance that you're doing later today. So maybe I can pull up it's TopLap, like TOPLAP.
Yeah.
So maybe we can pull that up and just look at it briefly. And thank you to Soren, who just posted a link to chat.toplap.org in the chat, so people can check that out. So thanks everyone to the question. I guess I have a kind of like wrap up question, which is to tie things a little bit back to the coding train, I guess, or like the stuff that I work on. So I'm trying to think about, and I know that there was a comment I think from Stieg who sort of said you can make an argument that sort of going along with the sort of in the vein of like what I'm doing in sort of like live coding tutorials is also a performance to some extent. But I guess I'm curious, have you ever, this was asked by one of the viewers, have you used P5 or processing? And I guess since those languages aren't really sort of like real-time coding environments, it's more about write the code, run the code, edit, run again. Have you ever used those tools, and how did I'm just trying to think about if you have any ideas about how to transition from some of the creative coding tools that I use and the viewers use into live coding. I know you mentioned one like has a very similar kind of like syntax to processing. I don't remember which one that was, but
that tool was it's called Improviz.
Improviz, right?
Okay. Sort of, So I have used processing. I don't use it that much, not for any particular reason. And when I do use it, I'm usually using it like kind of like on the desktop for some of my graphic design stuff, which goes into a pre-recorded video or something. So so I haven't used it for live coding. There is actually an artist called Ted Davis has created like a P5 live coding environment.
Yes, we talked about this the other day. Yes, that's right.
Yes, so that is possible to do that. But then certainly, I guess it's when it comes to like and the comment that the person made about like everything as a performance. It's just like the performative way of doing it, like being aware of there being an audience, and that you're demonstrating a thing and you're doing it for whatever purpose. So like of course you're doing it for the educational purpose. I'm doing it to try and get everyone moving and dancing. And it's just like but then also, yeah, just being aware of it, and so then your typing, how you're doing it becomes more intentional. So you might have seen in the video of my performance, like there were times when I was just like not typing, just letting it rest for a second, because I'm aware that people listen to absorb in the music for a second, and so like I'm very intentional of what I'm doing. So that's how I'm wonderful. So I think that's how it's similar in some ways.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you for taking the time to answer a lot of these questions. I just want to, there's a comment in the chat saying Praxis Live. I've never heard of that, but might be of interest. And I am familiar with the P5 Live, and it kind of just escaped me for a moment there. So that's hopefully something that I can take a look at and maybe explore in a future video or a future live stream here. So I'm going to switch in a moment. We're wrapping up, and I'm going to switch to show you some of the URLs, and especially if you're interested in catching Antonio's performance later. But I just, again, want to highlight, if you have more questions or want to learn more about Antonio's work, we've got hellocatfood.com, Hello Cat Food on all the different social media, Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud. So please feel free to engage and follow and all that stuff there. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen right now because I'm going to stay in the meeting the way you are, but I'm going to use my 4-finger scroll to go back to my browser here. I guess I could, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to my own camera view just in case I mess something up. And now here I go. Okay, so now I'm in a browser with Antonio still on Zoom here in the corner. So I'm going to go back to here. So just want to sort of wrap up by showing you a few last links of things that we've talked about, as well as remind you about the Coders of Color fundraiser and sort of thank anybody who's been able to donate during this live stream. Okay, so this is, Antonio, I don't know that you can see what I'm showing, but I'm on that spacestudios.org.uk page that you showed me. Friday, March 19th, 6:30 GMT. So that's isn't that in an hour?
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
We really got to let you go. You need a break.
No, I'm performing. I personally am performing a bit later. There's 4 artists who are performing, and they're all great.
So I'm kind of sitting in front of it, so I'm going to remove myself for a second here. But you can see here, Art and Tech residency artist, Algorave closing party. So if you liked this live stream, you can see here's the other 4 performing artists and a bit more of a description. Definitely, and if somebody could add a link to this in the chat, that would be great. Otherwise, I will certainly try to add it to the video description after I sign off, or put it as a comment or something like that. So there's that. I'm just curious to open up very quickly toplap.org just to show people it. Top log. Good thing that is not an actual URL, because I just wait. What is it? Is it toplap.org?
Yeah. Okay. Toplap.
I'm always afraid of opening something while I'm live streaming that. I don't know why I'm not. Yeah, there we
go. I understand why.
Great. So this is the Toplap website, which is, I guess, just to show everyone, and I'm going to take a look at it a bit more later as a place where, if you're new to the live coding scene, there's a chat there, nodes, discussion forum, all the things that Antonio mentioned. I also just want to remind everyone that we're using this opportunity to raise money for the Coders of Color fundraiser, and phew, we definitely had some more donations since the beginning of the live stream, which is great. I always worry and wonder. Coding Train is making a donation as part of this stream as well. Please look at the codersofcolor.org website, especially, I would say, if you're in the UK, New Orleans. I'm looking for the notes that I took about some of these cities also where they're looking for laptop donations. Let me pull this up again. New Orleans, Morocco, and Nigeria, as well as across the UK. If you have a laptop to donate, you can get in touch with Coders of Color through the Get in Touch link on their website. And let me just go down here to thank some of our donors who donated: Kevin and Tom and Nick and Anonymous and Joseph. Thank you. A bunch of train whistle. This is who I am. I don't know how else to be on the internet. I like having somebody just hanging out and laughing at my really embarrassing moments here. I think, Antonio, you'll have to continue to join me in my live stream. I'll just put you in a little box in the corner. But yes, this was really great. This donation page will be up, I think, at least for the next month. Of course, you can always donate to Coders of Color later as well, but would love to encourage you to donate. So with all of that, I think that wraps things up for today. And Coders of Color is there in the chat. Is there, as I kind of like stall for a bit, Coders of Color, if there's anything that I missed that you wanted to say about your organization or any sort of like call to action that you want to mention, please write that in the chat and then I will speak it out. So while I'm waiting to see if Coders of Color has anything else to say, let me just kind of, while I have a sort of captive audience here for a moment, again, live streams for the Coding Train are going to be on hiatus for about a month. And during that time, I will be working on editing and finalizing lots and lots of videos from the Nature of Code series. So that's what's coming out. So please stay tuned to that. I always want to encourage you to share your contributions. This is the Pi Day video that I recently released. And if I go to that page, there's a place for you to add versions that you make. So I want to encourage you to do that as always. And then I also just want to do a quick plug for the, if everyone will allow me, for the Computer Mouse Conference. And I spelled that wrong. Computer Mouse Conference 2021. One of the things I'll be doing over the next month is working on a video for this particular conference, and it has an incredible, I'm looking for the names of all the speakers. Cy X, who is the producer of this guest conductor series. They'll also be speaking or performing, I think, maybe at the conference. So put this onto your calendar if you're looking for more interesting live coding adjacent related content. So let me look here. I don't see, I see Twirling Tech Goddess is also in the chat. Big shout out to Twirling Tech Goddess, who was the guest conductor before. Again, I've mentioned my goal is to have once a month a guest video or live stream featured on the Coding Train. And actually, I buried the lead here with the Computer Mouse Conference. The Coding Train will be hosting a live stream, which is a performance and zine by Netta Bomani. And that, in some ways, is whether that's a guest conductor thing or not, I have no idea. But that's going to be happening on the Coding Train, also in a month, in parallel with the conference. So stay tuned for that. Just checking out the chat. I think that's all of the messages I have to say. Antonio, do you have any last words? You don't have to, but anything you want to say that I forgot about your work or anything that you want. I'm just going to pull up the page for your performance again for this evening.
Yeah, I don't think I really have much more to say. Again, just please, well, thank you all for watching. I have looked at messages in the chat. I'd say if you have questions for me, find me on Twitter.
Great.
And also, please do come for the performance. And yeah, thanks to you, Dan. Thanks to the audience. And yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to I just feel a need to tell everybody exactly what I'm doing because I'm very afraid of pressing the wrong button. I'm going to switch to a sort of outro video. I'll put on some music. The chat, the YouTube chat will be open for another minute or two. And Tony, I should let you know that the way that I've hooked everything up, you'll want to mute yourself because the outro music is also in this sort of laptop feed with your audio. But we'll catch up and chat with each other. You can also leave the Zoom meeting anytime you want. But just because I would love to chat and follow up with you, just to sort of like, and also get any feedback about how this was for you. Okay. Oh, please share the link for the performance in the chat. Can I make that happen? Well, I'll do that. I'm going to be out of an easier time doing that once I'm playing the outro video because I can go onto my laptop and move things around. So I will paste a link to this performance that you're seeing right here. If somebody doesn't get to it before me, have to go. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Antonio. Ask more questions to Antonio on Twitter at HelloCatFood. Check out codersofcolor.org and the link to the chuff.org fundraiser if you have the ability to make a donation, or even if you just want to get in touch with the organization to offer your support in other ways. I'm sure they would love to hear from you. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. And this is the ending. Francello asks, I'm so sorry, Francello, is this starting or ending? I got some good news, bad news. Bad news is it's ending. Good news is as soon as it stops, you can go back and rewatch the whole thing. So see you all later. I am pressing the buttons. Goodbye. As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot. This dot, never forget this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot. I'm gonna do the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song. Never forget the this dot. This. And I'm gonna say once again, here we go. Sing it with me. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. Auto-tune and the internet will fix that for me. Sing it with me. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. 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 Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. What else is there? Yes, kittens. Thank you very much. Kittens and rainbows and cupcakes. Notice that. Look what I get. I'm really losing my mind. Okay, let's do it. Kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens. 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 Kittens and kittens and kittens. Kittens and 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 kittens and kittens and kittens. I feel just sort of like a nice feeling of relaxation. Everything's going to be okay today. Dream is not broken. It has not frozen. This is a wonderful thing. Okay, we're going to do it. I'm really getting to something. I need my sound effect. Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. What else is there? Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. That was invalid syntax. I forgot. There was one other thing here that I think is important that I will use continuously over and over again in all sorts of text generation analysis things that I will use continuously over and over again. First thing I need to do is, yes, kittens. Kittens, kittens. I'm really losing my mind. Okay, we're gonna do it.
Kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens. 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 Kittens and kittens and kittens and Das Vidania.